Welcome back to the Dogs Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by our lovely podcast supporters. Today, we're diving into the heartbeat of humanity, music. What's your favorite genre? And who's on repeat in your playlist? We'll explore how music impacts our lives, from shaping moods to creating cultural connections. Join us as we share memorable musical moments and discuss the ever-evolving landscape of discovering new tunes. So grab on your headphones and let's explore the melodies that moves us on episode 85, music and what it means to us. I'm Arcadad.
I'm Whiplash Wolf.
I am Sakura Hanatsuki.
I am Xavier Xena.
Glad to have you all on the show, so let's go and let's proceed. We're going to start really basic today. What is your favorite music genre? Why don't you start, Sakura?
My favorite music genre, I'll be completely honest with you, is soundtrack. Whether it be from video games or movies or like a television show. I don't care if it's orchestral, 8-bit, 16-bit. There's something very relaxing about them. There's something very catchy about them. There covers a lot of different genres in terms of like the styles of music. What about you, Whip?
I will say EDM, but if you dig into EDM, there's immensely different genres of EDM that exist. But EDM as a whole is just good, honestly, because it's good for your soul.
I've heard some pretty bad EDM, to be honest.
I mean, I have too, but some of them I also found hilarious as hell. Let's just say this. Let's say if you happen to be a car enthusiast and you listen to a nice melodic EDM track while it's driving, you possibly get lost in a tune and just enjoy the drive because it's just that relaxing and just
the vibe.
That.
You're in the zone.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So like that, yeah. But there's also other things, like I've been listening to a lot of mixes lately at the gym. And I will start it off with doing cardio. Whenever I start running and listening to the beginning of the mix, you feel like you can just do anything and everything because like it's just like that powerful too. Where the music is just like vibing with you so well that you feel like you can just like run forever, honestly. Each genre represents something different emotionally. It's kind of like making your own music video in your head. You know, the thing that everyone does, honestly.
And the actor is like running and he's going up that hill and it's like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
It's like you put yourself in a different place whenever you're listening to it.
So as a DJ, my favorite kind of music is also EDM, specifically like house music. I like the traditional house music, but I also I get into some heavier stuff, some heavier bass music, depending on my mood. But like I go to festivals and I DJ at furry cons. That's probably my favorite, but sometimes I get into some punk rock. Music has always been a big part of my life, and it will always continue to be for as long as I can hear.
Me personally, I'm a big fan of EDM music as well. Nowadays, I listen a lot to lo-fi and synthwave music, and if I'm in a power cleaning move, then I'm going to put myself some dance music and then get me going. Some pop music is always good once in a while too. It gets the heart pumping and gets you motivated and stuff, and like going to the gym, for instance. But dance and trance music have always been my ultimate favorite. Speaking of like favorites and stuff, as a follow-up, what is the one artist or group that you always have on repeat? Whiplash, why don't you start us?
This is probably going to sound like, just fangirling, but to be fair, I do like Deadmau5.
Either
word.
It's a joke. Yes,
Deadmau5.
If he spells it like that, I'm going to say it like that.
But then you have Tristram. And then you have Netsky, which I've been listening to a lot of Netsky lately. Fred V, I've been listening to. They do a lot of drum and bass. Because drum and bass to me, like out of all the EDM, it's my favorite genre. I know it's probably like the most basic one that people will say or think of. Because like the beat's so easy. Like it's so simple. Like as soon as you hear it, it's like, oh yeah, this is this genre immediately.
So my favorite artists are like right now are in the EDM scene, Dom Dalla and Knock 2. Dom Dalla being more like traditional kind of house, and then Knock 2 being kind of trap, high energy dance. And then outside of that, like in the punk rock space, I really like Destroy Boys, and like in the classic rock scene, like Nirvana, all that old dad rock, you know?
And to be fair, dad rock is good. What about you, Sakura?
You see, I feel very out of the group here because everybody's talking, EDM, and I'm sitting here like soundtrack, orchestral, and...
What about Hans Zimmer's? He did Interstellar.
I mean...
So good.
Interstellar had a phenomenal soundtrack. Oh my god.
Let's say it. There's a lot of EDM artists that actually use a lot of orchestral like themes in their songs, and sometimes it slaps really hard.
I'm gonna have to look into that. The two biggest bands that I'm following right now are actually right out of Japan. The first one is Wagaki Band. It's kind of like a rock metal kind of scene, but they incorporate traditional Japanese instruments from like the koto, the shamisen, the taiko drum, and it's the most incredible music that you will ever hear in your entire life. It's so cool how they incorporate both of those. Like, it's incredible. That's all I can say about that. The other one I've been following really closely is another Japanese group called Garnadelia. It is 3 women, and they do a lot of different like styles of music, from like traditional Japanese. They did a Mandarin. They've done kind of like a Middle Eastern, like Indian style song that was really cool. And they always coordinate their costumes with like the kind of song that they're doing. I was actually there for the release of this song, and it was a tribute to the 3 of them. When the music video came out, I was sitting there watching it and watching the 3 of them dance together, and they're all looking at each other smiling. I started crying when they started showing, like, in the background all the different songs that they had done together. I just started sobbing. And the main singer, Maria, broke down on stage right near the end of the song, started crying while she's singing, but powered through it. And then I started crying again. It was such an emotional trip watching this happen on stage, but being there when the song was released officially on their page. And I will forever love their music. It is just absolutely wonderful.
My favorite artist actually is Above and Beyond. It's a group that started in the year 2000s. They're based off in London in the UK. And they do different styles of music, but mostly trance music. And they have other labels that they produce and collaborate. This radio show that they have called Group Therapy Radio. And they're currently at episode 571. They do one episode per week, and it's 1 hour of dance, trance, electronic music, and it really helps to keep me up to date. And I've been enjoying it a lot. It's something like if I'm not on Discord and I just need to relax, I just listen to that music. And every time I hear a song that I really like, I take it and I put it into my paramotor flying playlist. By the way, fun fact, you brought up deadmau5. You guys have noticed that his name of his songs, it's kind of random, right? The names are always kind of weird. Well, his own name is also like that. And the story, how deadmau5 chose his name, he was having issues with his computers. And he couldn't figure out what it was. He struggled for weeks. And then at one point, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to open up my computer and clean it. And then he found a dead mouse inside of his PC. And that's how he chose his name.
Oh, my God.
Like, as random as that.
I would not be able to do my job without music, for sure.
Yeah, to be fair, I would give up a lot of things for music, because like even like music is like probably the best thing that happened in existence. I'd give up games for music. Have you seen that video of how The Belt by deadmau5 became a thing? Apparently, so what, this guy, his name was I think it was Chris James. So he did his research with the soundtrack that deadmau5 was doing, because apparently it was almost a 22-hour live stream of just creating that song developed. During that time, he literally did the lyrical like soundtrack for that song while he was live streaming, and he sent it to him while on live stream. And it fits so well with the song that it just impressed deadmau5 to no end that on stream he actually messaged the guy on Twitter. It's like, look, we have to get together and do this now.
So cool. I like that guy. He's really awesome. He has a very unique style. I like that song.
Yes.
With The Belt.
And Monophobia.
I remember hearing it live at EDC Orlando. And That was he did a really great set. I remember hearing that because I grew up on that kind of music, and I probably wouldn't have been a DJ without hearing deadmau5's music.
How has music affected your life? Can you share a memorable musical moment from your life that significantly impacted you? Why don't you start, Xavier?
So I remember like my first iPod where my parents put on some of their favorite music, and I would listen to that like almost every day. What about you, Whiplash?
I used to take a Sony Walkman to school, and I would buy CDs at Walmart and Best Buy and just play some Linkin Park or some. I used to be in like grunge rock and such.
Yeah.
Until I started, in 2011, 2010, okay, like 2009, 2010 era, whenever deadmau5 and Skrillex started to like come more out, I started listening to dubstep, and then whatever the genre of the deadmau5 is, because deadmau5 seems like he's his own genre. Or what is it?
Oh, absolutely. He has this. It's hard. That's the one thing people struggle like. What's his musical style?
Yeah, exactly. See, he's just all around. Which is honestly, if you can do all around, then that's really good. Instead of sitting on one genre altogether, but. Yes, I remember 4 plus 4 equals 12. There's so many music I used to listen to, like on the bus and just blaring the shit out of it. You know how many Skull Candy headphones I went through? Like my entire 7 years of like having one. But I blasted those things. I go through like at least one every month, and then I just get another one and another one. You know what's funny? I think I got to the point at Best Buy, I bought them from Best Buy, and I kept returning them and just getting brand new ones for like free, like over and over again.
I took good care of my headphones, and then they broke the minute the warranty was out. So I was like, twisting the wire, making sure I start getting that connection back, and then putting a rubber band around it so it doesn't move. I had that struggle. That was really real. We didn't have Bluetooth back then, I'll tell you that.
The cord life is real. The headphone jack life is real.
Yeah, you puppies out there don't know the struggles of garbage headphones about to give out the ghost. I'll tell you that.
Honestly, I've listened to a lot of like Japanese, like from like Japanese JRPGs, like Nobuo Uematsu and Noriyuki Iwadare and a bunch of others. There was one time I'll never forget. I was in middle school. And I fell. We were playing tag or something stupid, and I fell. And I managed to rip this entire part of my hand open, and I ripped this entire knee open. I asked them, is it okay, if I put on some music? And at that time, we still had CDs with the Sony Walkmans, and they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. I put on the soundtrack to Lunar Silver Star Story, complete, from the PS1. And I laid my head back. I left my hand open on the one side. I raised up my knee on the other one, and I just let my head drift. I didn't even feel them working on me, picking the stones out and cleaning everything up. And I think I needed like 1 or 2 stitches or something. I didn't feel anything. It was also in high school that I started getting into more of like, the metal scene, the classic rock scene.
To be fair, I will say one gaming company who would make some amazing soundtracks for their games, Sega.
Absolutely phenomenal soundtracks all around.
Some great music, honestly.
Sega has a Japanese rhythm game called Mai Mai, I believe. It looks like a washing machine.
Oh, yeah.
And it has some awesome music on it. It has music from the Sonic games, like pop music from Japan. You can get some of them in the United States, but I believe none of them are currently online.
Quick on Whiplash's note there, Crush 40, the Sonic Adventure game.
Oh, yes.
Sega does go really hard. To finish up my thoughts here, so that way our poor puppy here, I'll give you a chance in a minute. I'll finish my story, okay? I'll be done soon.
Okay.
Miss.
Okay.
The one where bring like the dog that makes
I can't keep a straight face. It's too hard.
In high school, then I started getting kind of like into the metal scene, and I will never forget, did not feel more badass in a 1991 Chevy Cavalier RS 4-door, sitting there listening to like Metallica and Skrillex and all the other ones on the local radio station where I was living. Completely junked out car, but like it was amazing. I'm just sitting there cruising through it. I'm like, look at me, I'm a high schooler. I've got a car, listening to rock and music. Like I actually felt really good about myself, and that doesn't typically happen too often. And then I hit my dad phase. Right after high school, I started listening to like classic rock. So like, Kiss, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, and all like the classic rock bands. And that's kind of where a lot of my heart sits nowadays. I love classic rock, and it's lived with me. It's gotten me through a lot of really hard times. It's gotten me, to where I am today. And I mean, I don't know where I would be if not for a lot of the music through my childhood and what I called my quarter life. Now Puppy can answer.
Oh my God, don't call me Puppy. That's dull. I was doing the Puss in Boots eye. That's it. It stays as that. I remember me back then, what really affected me is when I was studying back then in the 2000s to be an avionics system technician, I had a friend of mine which I really bonded with, and we had math together, and she kept on bringing her iPod. I think she had like a 3rd or 4th gen one, and her thing was loaded with EDM music, but it had a lot of music from Above and Beyond and other labels like Ocean Labs and Anjuna Beats and stuff like that. And we just started listening to it, and I became hooked. I just love that style. I thought it was a great style of music to just relax, work on math problems, equation, just relax and just doze off. Like, music to me is such an important part of my life. Every time I'm a little bit overwhelmed, or I have too many things to do, or I'm not motivated to do anything, just music, just the right playlist will put me in the right mindset, and you better get out of my way because I'm getting stuff done. I do enjoy some video game soundtracks, and the ones I've been listening are the one from Adastra with, Amicus. I really love that music. This is my pick-me-up music when I feel sad or lonely and stuff. I like to listen to that music. I kind of feel understood when I listen to that. I love the soundtracks from Mass Effects. When you're exploring the star charts and trying to figure out your next destination, there's some really cool, like, synthwave, lo-fi, trance music playing in the background that is super relaxing. I really like that. What about you?
I'm on the same train as everybody else. YouTube is always recommending new songs, always recommending new groups based off of what I listen to. The biggest thing especially when it comes to finding like new video game music, watching E3 and Nintendo Direct, when they've got like all the new games for like the next year or two coming out, they play the big theme song, or they'll play like a really beautiful song that's going to be like within the game. Sitting there almost half the time just like closing your eyes and listening to the music. Games with phenomenal soundtracks 9 times out of 10 will always win me over.
I'm sure you play games. I'm sure all of us play games. But there's one game recently that's not Sega related that I've gotten a lot of music from because they add some pretty good music into it. It's Forza Horizon.
Oh, that intro music at the beginning. Well, I can't do it. It's going to sound like garbage, but anyways.
The first time I actually opened up Horizon 1 back in 2012 when that game first came out. And then as soon as it gets into like the scenery introduction, going between cars and just playing language, going something, I think it's like how language goes. It does that, and then it gets into like where the music just drops, and it's just like everything is just like good in your life, and you're just like looking at a TV screen with like all the cars and scenery.
All right, guys, so stay updated with the Top Dogs podcast by subscribing to our YouTube channel and ringing that notification bell. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform. Share the love by leaving us a quick rating, and connect with our community by joining our Discord server and Telegram community chat. You'll find all the necessary links in our link tree down below, so we appreciate your support. And hey, Top Dogs fan, if you're looking to snag awesome perks while supporting us, explore our server subscription on Discord or Patreon. You'll access exclusive behind-the-scene footage, join supporter meetups, express yourself with custom hand-drawn emojis featuring the Top Dogs team, and chat with the podcast teams and fellow fans. Plus, we've got the new After Dogs show for mature audiences at just $2.99 a month. Craving more? Upgrade to the Podcast Supporter Plus for $5.99 a month. Enjoy episode voting and supporter feedback and be part of our live audience. Plus, unlock exclusive sneak peeks of upcoming ideas, merch drops, and much more in the future. There's no obligations to join these subscriptions, but your support genuinely makes a huge difference for our team. And to those who have already subscribed, thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. You guys are amazing. We love you all. Sit your butt down, because now it's time for the question of the week, which is, what is a piece of music that has changed the way you see people? Now, Pyro364 wrote, I know I'm a little late, but for me, the artist Disturbed in general has had a profound impact on me. I went to a concert last year, and how genuinely caring the lead vocalist is just heart-touching. I've never been to a concert where the lead takes a minute to talk about the struggles of life. The sound of silence just gave this perspective, being those dark places and kind of working yourself out. The world is so big and there's always somewhere to go and amazing things to see. This is very true. Danon wrote, Many Path by Antoha MC. This song can be interpreted in a lot of ways, but I hear it like this. True self-love, not selfish, sincere, accepting, is the driving force behind life. And there are many ways for people to choose. There are so many choices like career, hobbies, etc. But still, each person follows their own path. Knowing the path of and following it can be two different things, sometimes even incompatible. People are afraid to be happy because of fear. In the end, they have to take action, work on themselves, and show themselves to others, and change themselves and their surrounding. You guys have fantastic answers. A little last one from the road. Shameless Man wrote, Next Lifetime by Erica Badu. Sometimes that old flame comes back into your life and those feelings are reignited. But the whole vibe is just off. You're already committed to someone and you know you can't just split yourself between two. As much as you may want that old flame again, this love is power and it's timeless to get them again into that next lifetime. Well, we've been talking how certain songs, sometimes they change your perception or view of the world. Xavier, how has music changed your worldview? In line with that, and in your opinion, does music play a role in shaping cultural identity?
I do think that music changes people. I don't think that music has necessarily... Well, I think music has changed me in certain ways. I think that live music, live performances have changed me. Probably the most profound concert I've been to has been Alice in Wonderland. I think she's been the most profound artist to change me.
I've been listening to music my whole life. My mother always had the radio playing. We had Disney movies, CDs, radio, dad rock, whatever was playing. And I've never really, paid much attention to it. I've always appreciated. But as I grew up, I've realized that music has more and more importance in my life. And recently, I've been noticing, who writes the music for the movies. And when I watched Interstellar, that movie changed me because of the soundtrack. The story was great, but the music that Hans Zimmer's put on, that docking scene with that whole spaceship that is spinning, trying to attach itself to a blown up space station, he used instrument that I would never think would fit in something concerning space. And it has changed my perception, and I've realized music is just as important as video, if not even more.
Absolutely, music has had a profound influence on my life. So much that, it's gotten me through the hard times between, the moment in middle school that I explained where I ended up in the doctor's office having to have a mini surgery on my hand and my knee, all the way through, 6 years ago when I went through my divorce. That was, among the hardest moments in my life that I've ever had to go through. Finding the right music to set a mood in your life, whether it be soundtrack, whether it be EDM, whether it be classic rock, whether it be techno, whatever genre it is, can put you into a completely different mental state. When it comes to cultural music, you can definitely tell what culture that music comes from. Like Mexican or Hispanic music has its own like sound to it. You know, Asian music has its own sound to it. European music's got its own sound to it. A lot of songs here in America have their own sounds to it. And I'm sure even up in Canada that, you know, there's probably some, well, I'm assuming here, but there's probably like a song that you can listen to and be like, oh, that's from Canada. That must be, you know, Canadian music.
Music from Canada is going to be very easy to recognize, mostly if you're in Quebec, if they sing in French and use a lot of slang words. It's probably French Canadian. We have a few really good artists, actually, that are quite skilled and talented, and it's part of our culture as well.
Despite all the different genres, all the different styles, all the different cultures, all the different kinds of people that there are on this green earth, the one thing that every country, every continent is it all has music. NASA sent out satellites to the different planets to record their electromagnetic, poles and the electromagnetic energies that the planets were giving off, and the sounds that the planets in our own solar system make. They can be really eerie, but they can be really, really beautiful. I mean, we're talking about music now that is going interplanetary, from the tiniest little, microbes and atoms all the way to the planets of our solar system. And that's not something that can ever be taken away.
Well, you know what? It kind of leads me into my next question. Is there a particular song or piece of music that you associate with a significant life event or a milestone?
The most profound, I believe, musical experience has been like the concert I went to with Alice in Wonderland, where she played. And that was like my favorite and most profound musical experience, I believe.
Do you remember that song from Scary Movie 2 whenever Lindsay or her name is singing in the car? That song was what we graduated to, so we kind of played that one a lot. I guess that's the only life moment. I guess the rest of the time it's just blasting EDM.
Me, I'm gonna sound very, very maybe corny or kitsch. I don't know what's the expression in English for it, but me, it was when my husband learned to play piano and played Scientist by Coldplay on our wedding to start up the first dance. My husband is not a musical type of person. He doesn't have really good sense of rhythm, like clapping his hands on a constant beat on a metronome. He can't do that. So for him to actually go ahead and learn piano and play a song and stay on beat was just amazing. I was proud of him, and it initiated the first dance. He played half of it, and then one of her friends took over and she started singing on top of it, and it was just a perfect moment. And I will always remember that and cherish that, and it was beautiful.
Growing up, one of the biggest video game series that I ever got into was the original Phantasy Star series. And it was, just the series of 4 games. They've always been something that was super close to my heart. And coming out as transgender, one of the biggest things that, I went through was the change of my legal first and middle names. I kept my last name, but in the process of trying to figure out, okay, well, what do I want to be called? What name do I want to choose for myself? A song came on from one of those 4 games, and it was a song that I've heard countless remixes of. The original version of it is absolutely beautiful, and it almost felt like it was at that moment that the universe was telling me, hey, pick a name from this song, or from this game, via this song. This is what you are meant to be called in life. And I rolled with it, The character's theme that song was for, that's what I named myself after. And That's something that I will always hold near and dear to my heart.
That's really beautiful.
I can speak safely for everybody that I think we had a fantastic time. I think that was really fun and interesting. Is anything else you guys would like to add to this conversation before we go?
Always keep your ears open because you never know where you'll hear music.
If you ever hit a rough spot in life, just calm down and listen to some music. Honestly, it's probably the best thing you do is just chill out and listen to some music in your life. Just forget about the world and just roll into some music.
Absolutely agree. I think music is quite therapeutic, and if you're going through a hard time, maybe put some headphones, find something that you enjoy, and just doze off and just relax as much as you can. It always helps to me. I feel like it. We all got our playlist. We all got our moments, our moods, our vibes. So I think music is just a healthy thing, and it connects people together. It helps them heal, bond. I think it's just fantastic. So, guys, I wish you all a fantastic night. Enjoy your music. Feel free to share it with your friends and family, and have a good time. Have a good night and enjoy life. Bye-bye, everyone. Good night.